ourselves as parents, as teachers, as school owners, as nannies, as government is don't always ask the question, are children safe? Don't ask that question. It's a very foolish question. It's a question that those who don't have intelligence ask. The question you must ask, however, is what measures have you put in place to protect children? Children are not going to be protected by wishful thinking. If witches were horses, beggars will surely ride. And so, when you talk about protection, the people who want to abuse our children, they are working tooth and nail. They are working night and day. They are restless because there's something in it for them to abuse children. They get economic satisfaction from it. They get inordinate. I don't know. And so the question is, those are the things now. You know, there's a movement on the internet now saying that pedophilia is not a problem. Mm-hmm. Saying that the same way a man can be attracted to a man, yeah, and a woman can be attracted to a woman, yeah, that a man can be attracted to a child. Do you know? Wow. And we that want to protect children, you go to a school, you look at the way the school is built, you look at the gate, you look at the beautiful building, you don't ask the question, do you have a child protection policy here? Mm. What measures have you put in place to protect children? And that is our goal this year. This year, we are leading a movement called the Child Protection Intelligence Movement. And we are asking everybody to ask a question. Ask from yourself. Ask from your church. Ask from your mosque. Ask from your shrine. Ask from your school. Ask from your teacher. Ask from your workplace. Ask from your husband. Ask from your wife. Ask from your cousin. Ask from your uncle. Have you put in place measures to protect children? Don't let us begin to assume that children will be protected. Children are under serious siege. Children, now UNICEF declared that the year 2014 was a devastating year for the Nigerian child. And 2015, I began by writing an article in the Punch where I began to say, if we do not learn from the lesson of 2014, 2015 promises to be a worse year for the child. And in that article, I said, I don't have answers, but I have hope. And what is that hope? The hope is that people like you who are brought me for this program, yeah, the hope is like every conscious mother, every conscious father, every man, every woman who arise and protect our children, because Mandela says they are the pivotal link between today and tomorrow. Yes. So without the children, there's no future. Now note, everything you are running around to make today, yeah, every house you are building, everything that you are building, if the children are not protected, if they are not prepared to take control and take charge, then it is for nothing. That is why you go around Lagos today. This house is not for sale. Beware of Taiwo. Why? Because the person who built the house did not build the children. And so the children grew up to begin to sell what the parents have built. I hope you know, I've seen cases where in polygamous home, when a man dies, the house is upside down. But that is understandable because it's a polygamous home. But I've seen another case where a man, one wife, one child. Have you heard that? One man, one wife, one child. The man died. Father, mother, and child, they are in court. Fighting over the estate of the man. One man, one wife, one child. One child.
Is that child?
One child. The child of the mother.
No, we must have friends, so we know where it's coming from.
One child. Because the child was not trained. Because the child was not trained. Because the child was not trained, the child does not understand that the life of a man does not consist in abundance of what he possesses. Are we getting what I'm saying? Recently, you see in South Korea, of a CEO of an airline, of a leader of an airline, not the CEO, who said because she was served in a bag, she was served a peanut in a bag, instead of being served in a plate. And asked the plane to stop, taxi back to the gate. They were still on the tarmac. Taxi back she delayed the flight for 11 minutes. And at the end of the day, she's being prosecuted right now for safety issues. The father came out, she has to resign. The father came out and said, I'm sorry, I didn't raise her well. That's what the father came out to say. The father is the chairman of the corporation. So that's what we are saying. No matter what you are doing today, our children occupy the pivotal place. We may not be able to build the world for our children, but we can build our children to be able to stand everything that comes in the world. And that is the purpose of our movement, to say that it is high time we began to ask this question. Don't go to a school and say, our children savior. Ask them, where is your child protection policy? What system have you put in place to protect children? Let me tell you something. A school, a missionary school, a child was caught, a 11-year-old child was caught in homosexuality with another child. What did the school do? The school suspended the child. They asked the parents, I said, why are parents like this? So they suspended your child. What question? How come the children, they are in boarding school, how come the children were able to perform homosexuality under their nose? They should be closed down. It's not that the child should be suspended. Why are you focusing on the child? If you cannot, if you cannot run a boarding school, why are you claiming to run one? So you are running one, children are performing homosexuality under your nose. How did they do that? And you are not covering your eyes in shape to be appealing and be begging the parents. Unfortunately, parents accept that.
Yes.
And they go away and they are looking for a lawyer. I said, there are many battles you can fight without a lawyer, because a lawyer might not feel your passion. A lawyer may not understand where the shoe is pitching you. But you are the parent who say, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, what are you saying? Where were you? Me himself, I put you in the defensive. Where were you when my child was doing homosexuality? Number 2 question. What measures did you put in place to protect children in this place? Have you spoken to them about their sexuality? Have you spoken to them about homosexuality? Have you explained things to them? In a school, a boy was being sodomized, 10-year-old boy, by 4 boys. When the boy wrote a prayer request in the missionary school, prayer request, that Lord deliver me from these wolves. The chaplain read the prayer request and felt that there was something wrong. The chaplain called the boy and said, come, you wrote this prayer request. The boy said, yes, true life story. The boy said, I wrote the prayer request. So they said, okay, what happened? He told the chaplain, you know what the chaplain did? The chaplain said, let me pray with you. That their eyes will not see you again. True life story, I'm telling you. That is what is happening. And at the end of the day, the child went back. The thing ceased for a while. I see the prayer was answered. Then the boys came back. And the child, senior in the school, and the boy had to run home to go and meet the mother and say, this is what is happening to me. So the question again is that, under what circumstances do you send your child to a boarding school? Because a woman called me and said, Mr. Akinlami, I want to send my child to a boarding school. Now, what do you advise? I said, I want to ask only one question. Why do you want to send your child to a boarding school? In the first instance. Now, because the truth is, if you ask the question, the reason why people send their children to boarding school these days is to have time. It's because they don't have time. They want to send the child away. A woman came to me and said, my children are messing up. I cannot vouch for their attitude again. I said, okay, pull them out from boarding school. Let them stay with you at least for 1 year. I said, I'm busy, my husband is busy. So what are we going to do? So the question is, there are 15 questions you must ask before you register your child in a school. 15 questions. There are 11 questions you must ask before you register your child in a boarding school. There are 10 questions you must ask before you take your child to a children's department of a church to keep your child there. 10 questions. There are 12 questions you must ask before you walk in a place to say whether they are child friendly or not. The question is, are we aware? I was in Asaba. I was speaking to a group of teachers and parents. And one of the parents came to me when I finished, said, you know the problem? We don't even know the questions to ask. A teacher in a school, in a popular school in Ibadan or your state, said a matron, a school matron, said he has told children has taught them hygiene. Then she found poo-poo in the toilet. She asked the children that because she has warned them before, they should come and taste poo-poo.
Oh my God!
This is, I'm telling you, see, let me tell you something. Everything I'm telling you here can be validated. Are you getting it? They are true life stories. I'm not cooking anything up. She said they should come and taste poo-poo until the children, that's boarding school, until the children rose up. One of the children said, no, I cannot taste poo-poo. And became an issue. I asked the woman who told me this story. I said, have you now withdrawn your child from the school? He said, I'm busy, their father is busy. Even the idea of going to look for another school is terrible for me. Wow. I don't have the time. He said, but they have won the matron. They didn't sack the matron, they have won the matron.
They've won the matron. So this is the issue. Where do we go from here? It's not because we can continue to talk about the situation. The number one thing that is critical is for us to understand our responsibility as parents. As primary caregivers, secondary caregivers, that our number one responsibility is to protect the child. Number two, that there's no such thing called child vulnerability. No such thing. There's nothing like child vulnerability. What you call child vulnerability is adult irresponsibility. Yeah. Look at this studio where we're having this program. This studio can become vulnerable if we remove this door, we remove all the padding here, and this place becomes vulnerable. All the noise will enter this place. The reason why it is not vulnerable is because we make effort to ensure it's not vulnerable. So when you say children are vulnerable, it's because you will lack what we call child protection intelligence. When you lack that, you create problem for your children. So you need to know that children are not vulnerable. What you call child vulnerability is adult responsibility. Number 3, what you call orphan. Orphans are not children whose parents have died. Orphans are children whose parents are not available, dead or alive. So you need to be available for your children. It's very, very important. Number 4, single parenting has taken another form, single parenting. Yeah. Now, before we used to think that if maybe a man or a woman is divorced, so you have a child, that's single parenting. Yeah. Or you lose a spouse, then a male or a female is raising the child, that's single parenting. But single parenting has taken a new form now. Yeah. It now means that husband and wife are still together, living under one roof, but the responsibility of parenting and protecting the child has been delegated to one party. In most cases, it's the women. So when you go to PTA, when you go to Open Day, when you go to all those places, you see women. If there are 100 participants in a PTA meeting, you find like 90 women, 5 house help, 5 men. Are you getting it? Representing people there. Yes. So the question is, if God meant for a child to come through a woman alone, or if God meant for a child to come through a man alone. I went to a school and the woman asked me, said, I'm the only one responsible for this child. The father just says, I've given you money, I've given you money. He said, does that have an impact on my daughter in the future? I said, very well. Because your child is not going to have that role that the father is supposed to play. So if your child does not have that role, that the father, there is a part of the father that the father should deposit in the child. If the child does not have that, then the child is incomplete. Then, apart from that, there are decisions that are critical to the protection of children that men need to take with their wives. So irrespective of how you are paying, that you are paying school fees does not make you a parent. Because if the Lagos State government gives somebody a scholarship, does the Lagos State government become parent? If a philanthropist, Stephen Abiola, who was giving people scholarship, does that make him a father to them? So that you are paying school fees does not make you a parent. Your responsibility towards the child must be understood and played. And so, people tell me now, the state of the nation, the state of the nation, particularly for some of us who are educated. I say I agree with you, the state of the nation is not easy. You see, Naira has been devalued now. OPEC, oil price is going down the drain, and everybody is jittery and fidgety. And so we talk about the state of the nation, we need to run around. I said, yes, I agree with you. We need to run around. But the number one question is, which child protection intelligence asks is, did these children write application to come to this world? Are you not aware of the state of the nation? I'm 44 years old. 44. Now, I was born March 24, 1970. Now, when I was born, no sooner than I was born, when I was 9 years old, I began to hear austerity measures, austerity measures, austerity measures. I began to hear that. From there, in 1983, I began to hear another one, SAP, Structural Adjustment Program, 1985. I was 15 years old. So, since when I was born, I've been hearing the state of the nation. Most of us who are parents today, most of them are even younger than me. You were born into the state of the nation. The state of the nation does not come upon you like a thief in the night. You are aware of the state of the nation. You see, you know how much, you know that the public school system has crashed. Yeah. I went to public school all my life. You know that today they have crashed. Yeah. And you know that the same people that crashed the public school are the one supervising, regulating the private schools. Yeah. You know that to register your child in a good school now, you have an idea of how much it costs. But you still went ahead and brought even antenatal, you know the amount, even Pampers. So you went ahead to still bring 1, 2, 3, 4. And after that, you are complaining about the state of the nation. That is height of irresponsibility. I'm not holding fault for government. I'm not saying the state of the nation is okay. We cannot afford the house and we say it's the state of the nation while our children are being destroyed. The government have a role to play. We must let the government know it is important. But now, for you who are educated, for you who claim to have a certificate in psychology, in maths, in broadcasting, in law, in architecture, in engineering, in medicine, and you claim to be civilized, you travel abroad, you come back, and you are treating your children as if you did not call them here. Let me tell you a pathetic story.
Yes, sir.
A man whose wife is raising their children